Volume 1 Juvenile Blood Chapter 22 How Bad Guys Are Made 1. It's not appropriate. I'll find someone else. However, there is one point. I want the goods to be long-term, not to be left behind after doing this deal. Ma Wu rubbed two fat hands and said to Xie Wendong, "Wait a minute. Let me think about it." Ma Wu walked back and forth in the small warehouse, quickly calculating the pros and cons. His brothers set their eyes on him, and they had no money to spend for several days. Finally Ma Meidei stamped his foot, looked at Xie Wendong and asked, "How much can you want this time?" Xie Wendong thought for a moment and said, "I want 20 jin." Ma Wu and his men are in a daze. 20 jin is not a small sum. Ma Wu took a fresh look at Xie Wendong and said, "20 jin. Can you eat so much, little brother?" Xie Wendong smiled. "Whether I can eat or not is my business. As long as you promise me the price, I'll take 20 jin this time. There may be more in the future." Ma Wu laughed and said, "Good. Dude, that's cool. Then I don't have ink either. I'll give you your price. Ha." Although Xie Wendong offered a very low price, Ma Wu still made money, but he only earned less. Xie Wendong said, "There is also a saying that in front of you, you will deliver the goods and pay on arrival. You shouldn't object to that, do you?" Ma Wu pointed to Xie Wendong and said with a smile, "Naturally, your little brother is really shrewd. Haha, brother, don't go at night. Brother, I'll take good care of you." With that, he asked his men, "Kill a few chickens and get some wine and meat at night. This brother and I should be close to each other. We all need to cooperate closely in the future." The big-faced brother agreed and ran out happily. Xie Wendong said, "Ma Wu, you are welcome. I'm going to eat this meal, but I don't have to make too much. Just make it easy." Ma Mai waved his hand and said, "You are a guest, so you should entertain you well the first time you come. Brother, don't call me Ma Wu, it looks like an outsider. I'm a few years older than you, and you have nothing to lose by calling me Brother Wu." Xie Wendong is right when he thinks about it. In the future, he will have to get in touch with Ma Wu, and it is not good to shout nicknames. Xie Wendong said politely, "Well, I'll be Hi, Brother Wu." Ma Wu was so happy that his mouth could hardly be closed, so he said yes. He took Xie Wendong by the hand and said he had another great little brother. Xie Wendong said in his heart, he still had to kill and scrape himself just now, but now he has become a brother. This Ma Wu is really not an ordinary person, and he has to deal with it carefully. Xie Wendong chatted with Ma Wu enthusiastically. Most of what he said were unimportant words. Ma Wu told Xie Wendong about his previous deeds, how magnificent, how prestigious, and then how to decline. At last Xie Wendong almost fell asleep. Seeing Xie Wendong's lack of interest, Ma Wuxia smiled and said, "Little brother, I have a surprise for you tonight. Ha." With that, Ma Wu laughed. Xie Wendong froze and asked, "What's the surprise?" Ma Wu narrowed his eyes into a slit and said, "Don't worry, brother. Then you'll know." Xie Wendong glanced at his mouth and wondered what surprise this old slick would give him. After 7 o'clock in the evening, Ma Wu's men prepared all the food and brought in a large round table from the outside and placed it in the middle. Ma Wu asked Xie Wendong to sit down, picked up a bottle of Lao Baigon and poured Xie Wendong a drink. Volume 1. Young People's Hot Blood Chapter 22 How Are Bad Guys Made 1. Then he filled himself up, picked up the glass and said, "Brother, this is the first time we have met, and please don't take it to heart if we have not received you badly. Big brother will punish himself with 3 cups first, which is to be your friend." After saying that, Ma Wu drank 3 cups in a row, then poured another cup and said, "Brother, we have drunk this cup in order to have a happy cooperation in the future." Xie Wendong nodded and said, "I will inevitably trouble 5th brother in the future. Fuck. Come. Let's drink together." Xie Wendong drank a cup with everyone. Xie Wendong had never drunk white wine. After drinking a cup, he felt that his throat was about to smoke, so he quickly ate a few bites of food. Ma Wu saw Xie Wendong's appearance and knew that he couldn't drink, so he stopped persuading him to drink and drank 1 cup after another with his brothers. can be seen that Ma Wu is really happy today. With Xie Wendong as a big customer, he will have money to spend in the future. I can't help but drink a few more glasses of wine. Xie Wendong asked while eating vegetables. Fifth brother, when will the goods arrive in J City? Ma Wu thought for a moment and said, if brother needs it urgently, I can deliver the goods in less than 3 days. Xie Wendong nodded and said, okay, I'll wait for your news. I'll buy a mobile phone when I get back and tell you the number. Call and let me know before the goods arrive. Ma Wuxiao said, brother, why don't you even have a mobile phone? Do you want fifth brother to give you one? Xie Wendong smiled and knew that he was being polite. He looked so poor that he almost urinated blood, and he could even give him his mobile phone. But he said, fifth brother, I want to send it to you until we get closer in the future. Now if you give me something, I'm really embarrassed to take it. Ma Wui was happy when he heard this. He gave himself face and a way out. Okay. With this brother saying, I will definitely make friends with you. Fifth brother is happy today, so brother will have another drink with me. Xie Wendong had no choice but to drink another cup with Ma Wu. After a while, the strength of the wine came up, and Xie Wendong felt a little dizzy. No matter how much Ma Wu advised him, he would not drink it. After 3 rounds of wine, 5 flavors of food, everyone had almost eaten. Ma Wu stood up and staggered and said, Lao Ma, go find a big and clean room for my brother. Lao Ma agreed and walked out. Ma Wu held Xie Wendong's hand and said indiscriminately, brother, I'm a little too much today. Mainly happy. Brother, have you ever played with women? Brother has it here. Come, I will lead you to choose one. After saying that, Ma Wu took Xie Wendong and walked towards a small black door in the house regardless of whether the latter agreed or not. Arriving at the door, he shouted, Lao Ma! Lao Ma! Xie Wendong said with a smile, didn't you just call Lao Ma away? Ma Wui patted his head. Look, I remember. Okay. Brother didn't drink too much, and his memory is better than mine. He turned around and shouted, Lao Chi! Where's Lao Chi? As soon as he finished speaking, the person called Lao Chi by Ma Wu ran over and said, Fifth brother, how about you try it this time? Ma Wui slapped him on the head and scolded, Taste it, mother! Find that chick and let her sleep with my brother for the night. Volume 1 Juvenile Blood Chapter 23 _ How the Bad Guys Are Made. Lao Chi agreed, opened the little black door with the key, and stooped to go in. Xie Wendong looked down and looked in. It was so dark that he could not see anything clearly. I just heard a woman moaning inside. Xie Wendong looked at Ma Wu strangely and said, This is... No, no, no. No, no, no? Ma Wu said with a smile. My brothers are going crazy in this place where they don't shit. If we don't have some fun to let our brothers relax, then I won't be able to sit on this big brother. Xie Wendong smiled with him. I know in my heart that the women inside are either robbed or cheated, and have some sympathy for their sufferings. But they cannot save them, can only wish their own bitter fate. After a while, Seven pulled out a woman with a muddy face. The woman seemed to know what was going to happen to her and struggled desperately, but her hands were grasped by Seven. Ma Wu came forward and slapped the woman in the face. Damn it! Give me a break for a while. You have a fucking temper. As he said that, he wiped the dirt on the woman's face with his fat hands, nodded and smiled, and said to Xie Wendong, Brother, this little girl has given it to you. Today you are happy. This guarantee is a virgin. Ha ha. Xie Wendong looked at her carefully, but did not see her too clearly. He felt that she should not be old. She was wearing a thin dress that could not see the true color clearly. She looked at herself with fear in her big watery eyes. Xie Wendong originally wanted to refuse Ma Wu's kindness, but when he saw the girl's eyes, he sighed secretly that she would probably accompany Ma Wu if she did not accompany her, and such an innocent girl would be wasted. Thinking of this, Xie Wendong didn't say anything. Ma Wu smiled at Xie Wendong and said, Brother, enjoy the evening. Brother Wu, I'm so dizzy now. I'm going to bed first. Brother, if you need anything, just tell my brothers below. Xie Wendong said, Well, Brother Wu drank a lot today, so go to bed early. Ma Wu waved his hand and walked out. 7 on one side said to Xie Wendong, "Brother Dong, let me show you to your room." Xie Wendong nodded. Lao Chi took Xie Wendong out of the small warehouse, and only then did Xie Wendong see the environment outside. It was surrounded by a vast expanse of grass, and it was so dark that it could not be seen clearly. Next to the small warehouse is a row of small bungalows, which are also dilapidated. When Lao Chi came out, he shouted, "Old horse! Old ma!" After a while, the old horse ran out of a bungalow closer to the warehouse. "Hey, Lao Chi! How dare you withdraw your neck and call your grandma?" 7 asked. "Grass! Have you finished the house that brother asked you to clean up? Brother Dong is going to have a rest." The old horse said, "It's already done." "Damn it, it's already done. Come on out." Lao Chi turned to Xie Wendong, stretched out his hand, smiled and said, "Brother Dong, please come inside. The place is a little bit shabby, and it contains more. You don't have to be polite. I'll just stay anywhere." Xie Wendong nodded and went to the bungalow. After entering the house, the room was small, less than 20 square meters, poorly decorated, and there was nothing but a bed, a table, and a few stools. Xie Wendong walked around the house, feeling that it was so cloudy and damp that he could not help but have a cold war. 7 pulled the girl in, and the girl came to the door and began to struggle again. Old 7 Ruthless. Volume 1 Juvenile Blood Chapter 23 _ How the Bad Guys Are Made. After kicking her, he just pulled him in and said to Xie Wendong, "Brother Dong, have a rest? Hey, it's all right. I'll just go." Xie Wendong looked down at the girl and thought, and said, "She is too dirty. Please fetch me a basin of water and let her wash it." The old man clapped his head and said with a smile, "Look at my papaya head. How can I forget this? Brother Dong, wait a minute. I'll bring the water right away." With that, Lao Chi shouted that the old horse ran out. Xie Wendong looked at Lao Chi's back and shook his head, turned to look at the girl, and saw her huddled in the corner, her bright eyes looking at him. Xie Wendong approached the girl and was about to speak. The girl sprang to her feet and ran out the door. Xie Wendong was startled to see the girl running to the door and stopped again. Curious to go over and look out, Xie Wendong smiled. It turned out that there were 12 green eyes staring at the girl who was about to run, and 6 wolf dogs stood in the doorway, their white teeth sticking out of their mouths and drooling down the corners of their mouths. The girl stood at the door for a while, then walked slowly back. Seeing Xie Wendong's smiling face beside her, she blushed and scolded, "You are really a despicable person." Xie Wendong was scolded in a daze. "I didn't expect this girl to be so bold. She dared to make rude remarks when she was in danger, and I admired her a little." On the face of it, however, he smiled. "I have more despicable things to do." With that, Xie Wendong reached out and grabbed the girl's clothes. The girl let out a cry of fear and flashed to the farthest corner from Xie Wendong. As soon as he saw the girl in a panic, Xie Wendong wanted to tease her and strode over. The girl was not as fast as Xie Wendong, and she was soon caught by Xie Wendong's clothes. The girl struggled desperately, hitting Xie Wendong with hands and feet. Xie Wendong was about to release his hand when he suddenly felt a pain in his wrist. He looked down and saw that the girl's head was pressed against his hand. He knew what was going on without seeing it clearly. "Damn you! No, no, no." Xie Wendong moved the girl's head, took a lot of effort to pull back his hand, and took a closer look at the 2 rows of blood-red tooth marks on his wrist. When the girl saw that Xie Wendong wanted to look like a cat, she crouched in the corner and huddled up again. Xie Wendong sighed and secretly scolded himself. "Should let you have fun, ask for trouble, and get bitten." Holding his breath, Xie Wendong sat down on the bed, blaming himself for being too childish. After a while, Lao Chi and Lao Ma came in with a large basin of water from the outside and put it on the floor of the house. 7 said to the companion with a smile, "Brother Dong, the water is ready. It's still gentle." Xie Wendong was upset and said, "Well, there's nothing going on here. You two go to bed too." Lao Chi looked at Xie Wendong and the girl in the corner. Finally, his eyes fell on the tooth marks on Xie Wendong's wrist. He laughed and said, "Got it. Got it. We'll go now. Brother Dong will play slowly. Sometimes the virgin is just too wild." He. With that, he took the old horse out and closed the door with his hand back. When Xie Wendong saw the two people go out, he turned to the girl and said, "I see you haven't taken a bath for several days. Now there's water for you to wash. Don't worry, I won't peek." The girl looked at the water in the basin, her eyes full of longing, but immediately lowered her head. Xie Wendong looked in his eyes and understood what the girl was afraid of. Volume 1 Juvenile Blood Chapter 23-How the Bad Guys Are Made. The bed smiled and said, "You can rest assured to wash. I am not interested in little girls. I will neither bite you nor eat you." Xie Wendong turned, faced the wall and stopped looking at the girl, but for a long time did not hear anything. Xie Wendong sighed, eyes closed, did not care about her. The girl's huddled body flashed through my mind, and I felt a little sad. Blame yourself for not teasing her just now. Now that I am already a bad guy, if I play with this girl again, I will be a jerk again. I don't know what villain plus asshole equals. Xie Wendong lay in bed thinking wishfully. Today he was really tired. He drank some white wine and soon fell into a half-sleep state. The girl crouched in the corner and waited for a long time, feeling that Xie Wendong really fell asleep. I was surprised that the villain didn't seem to be too bad. At least he didn't put himself. The girl blushed at the thought of this. Standing up, he walked slowly to the bedside and carefully pushed Xie Wendong, who was sleeping. The latter did not reflect. The girl was a little bolder and pushed several times in a row, but there was still no response. The girl put her hanging heart down. Look around. There is a thick iron bar on the window. It is impossible to escape through the window. Finally, he crept towards the door, pushed the door open a small crack to look out. Originally lying outside, the wolf dog suddenly stood up, toward the crack in the door in. Yes. Hum hum. The girl quickly closed the door and remembered that she was in a devil's den, and that her family did not know how anxious she was in a dilemma of life and death. Thinking, the girl's tears fell down. After a long time, the girl calmed down a bit. Looking at the water in the basin, I couldn't help feeling sick. She didn't take a bath for weeks, and the muddy smell made her sick. Looked at Xie Wendong on the bed, and finally made up his mind. Take off your clothes slowly and silently, and your delicate figure will be exposed to the air. The girl crouched naked in a big basin, wiping the dirt off her body with a sticky towel. Although the girl's dirt was washed off, the pink and white skin gradually revealed, and the delicate chest warped slightly. The girl is not old and not fully developed. After the girl washed her body, she wiped it quickly, and then put on her clothes quickly. Turn around and look at the people on the bed. Seeing that they are still sleeping, they relax a lot. The girl moved a chair and sat farthest from the bed, leaning against the wall and staring at Xie Wendong, who was sleeping. It was almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and the girl reached her limit and fell asleep against the wall. I don't know how long later, the girl woke up from the cold, and the cold in the room made her shudder. After looking at Xie Wendong on the bed, he was sleeping with his head covered. Why should he be cold? But he didn't. A wave of anger rose in the bottom of the girl's heart, came to the bed, pushed Xie Wendong's body in, and made room for the girl to lie down. After a while, the girl dragged Xie Wendong over, covered her body, closed her eyes and fell asleep. Xie Wendong was sleeping soundly and felt that the girl was pushing herself and ignored her. After a while, the girl lay beside her and Xie Wendong didn't care. Unexpectedly, she became more and more excessive, and then she was robbed, too. Xie Wendong opened his eyes and pulled the quilt back. After a while, the girl woke up from the cold and gritted her teeth when she was dragged back. Volume 1 Juvenile Blood Chapter 23-How the Bad Guys Are Made. They were brought back one by one. For this man, the two men in the bed did not know how long they had been fighting in the smoke-free bed, and finally fell asleep when both of them felt warm. The sun rose slowly in the morning, and the bright sun shone into the house. The clean smell peculiar to the countryside is exhilarating. Xie Wendong opened his eyes and felt that his body was so heavy. He looked up and smiled. It turned out that the girl leaned against her side, one arm around Xie Wendong's neck, and a tender leg lifted and pressed on him. The whole man, like an octopus, hugged Xie Wendong. Xie Wendong blushed and tugged at the hand that put his arms around his neck, but did not pull it, and the girl's fingers clung to the clothes on one shoulder. His action alarmed the girl, and the response was to hug her more tightly. Xie Wendong sighed and turned to look at the girl's sleeping face. Now the face is much cleaner and the original appearance is revealed. She was an extraordinarily beautiful girl, no more than 15 years old, and there seemed to be wet tears under her long eyelashes. Xie Wendong felt a pain in her heart that she was just a child and still needed to be loved by her parents. But she fell into the hands of Ma Wu and suffered a lot. Ma Wu and others simply do not know what human nature is, even such a small girl. Ironically, I still have to deal with him for a long time. Alas, people's bad roots are led by adultery, and there is nothing wrong with the words of the ancients. Xie Wendong decided in his heart that he must save the girl from the devil's den. Xie Wendong lay quietly on the bed, letting the girl put her arms around her. The girl didn't sleep soundly, frowning and talking in her sleep. Xie Wendong patted her on the shoulder and hummed the song softly, and the girl gradually settled down. Bang, bang. After a long time, there was a knock on the door. Then the door was opened, and Ma Wu's fat body came in. Seeing the appearance of Xie Wendong and the girl in bed, he laughed and said, "Brother was very comfortable last night. The feeling of breaking a virgin is the best." Xie Wendong suppressed his disgust and said with a smile, "Brother Wu is absolutely right. I have to get up now." "No, no, no. No, no, no." Ma Wu suddenly said, "Oh, look at my head. I'll go out first." "Brother, don't worry. Take your time." "Ha ha." Ma Wu went out as he spoke. Looking at the back of Ma Wu, Xie Wendong sneered and knew that Ma Wu was wrong. It was even better. Sooner or later, he would not laugh if he had to squeeze him dry first. At the same time, Ma Wu's voice also woke the girl up and saw that he put his arms around Xie Wendong, blushing as if he were oozing blood. "Cover your head with a quilt." Xie Wendong smiled from the bottom of his heart when he saw the girl's innocence. Hearing his laughter, the girl made the quilt tighter. It was like a frightened bunny. Such an idea suddenly appeared in Xie Wendong's mind. The girl was patted on the head and said, "Get up. We've been sleeping like this all night." The sun snapped to the butt. With that, Xie Wendong got up and got out of bed, put on his shoes and stretched around the room. He didn't sleep well last night. Xie Wendong walked out of the cabin and looked around carefully. It was too dark to see clearly last night, but now I realize that this place is. Volume 1. Young People's Hot Blood Chapter 23-How Our Bad Guys Made One. Sitting in a place similar to a factory. There are dilapidated low walls on all sides, and the courtyard is littered with weeds. The place where I met Ma Wu yesterday was not a small warehouse. Felt more like a factory building. I admired Ma Wu and wondered how he found this deserted place. Ma Wu, who was standing in front of the factory, saw Xie Wendong coming out and greeted him with a smile. He said meaningfully, "Brother, you're getting dressed so quickly, haha." Xie Wendong smiled awkwardly and said, "Fifth brother, I have something to discuss with you. I wonder if you can agree." Ma Wu patted his chest and said, "Brother, if there is anything wrong, just say it. Brother Wu will help you if he can do it." Xie Wendong pretended to be embarrassed. He lowered his head, raised it again, lowered it again, and the corners of his mouth moved, but in the end he didn't speak. Ma Wu has been fighting hard for so many years, but he has never seen anything. Looking at Xie Wendong's appearance, I understood what he meant. After thinking for a while, he asked, "Brother, do you want that chick?" Xie Wendong secretly laughed at Ma Wu's wisdom, but his face blushed. He raised his head and opened his mouth, but still didn't speak, just nodded his head. This matter put Ma Wu in a dilemma. He didn't care about a woman, but he was afraid that he would hand this girl over to Xie Wendong. If he ran away and told the police what happened here, he would be finished. Ma Wu was conflicted and his expression changed uneasily. Xie Wendong saw it in his eyes and whispered, "Fifth brother, are you afraid that this chick will run away if she reaches my hands?" Don't worry about this, fifth brother. Nothing in my hands will fly out. To tell you the truth, my younger brother is considered to be number one in J City, and there are no less than hundreds of brothers below me. If you look at a girl, heh. Besides, if she runs away, I'm screwed. Fifth brother, are you right about me? Volume 1 Juvenile Blood Chapter 24-How to Make a Bad Guy 1. Ma Wu seriously looked at Xie Wendong. According to his experience, Xie Wendong did not lie, and Xie Wendong did not lie either. After bowing his head and thinking for a while, Ma Wu didn't want to offend Xie Wendong because of this. He gritted his teeth and said, "Come on! Since my brother likes it, I have nothing to say. It's just that, brother, you must be careful not to let him get away." Xie Wendong smiled and said, "Brother Wu, do you think I am such a careless person?" Ma Wu nodded and said, "I believe in the ability of a brother. You will take the girl away later. Brother, I won't keep you today. I'm going to deliver the goods in a few days. What do you think, brother?" Xie Wendong, seeing that Ma Wu promised to give the girl to himself, was very happy and said, "No problem. I'm waiting for your goods. Brother Wu, just wait for the money." Ma Wu froze. Then and Xie Wendong looked at each other and laughed. The girl got up as soon as Xie Wendong went out, hid in the room and eavesdropped on their conversation from under the door. Finally, she learned that the fat man with a big face was going to give himself to the handsome young man. She was happy and worried that she felt that the young man did not look like a bad guy, although it was not a good thing, but it was much better than a fat man with a big face. The worry is that I don't know where I will be taken. I may be farther and farther away from home, and I may even be sold. The girl has all kinds of flavors in her heart now. Xie Wendong and Ma Wu talked for a while and said, "Wait until noon and Ma Wu farewell." Ma Wu did not keep him and asked Xie Wendong, the rickshaw handlebar, to be sent back to H County together with the girl. On his deathbed, he also told Xie Wendong to be careful not to let the girl run away. Xie Wendong was so angry that he wanted to put footprints on his fat face, but he finally held back. When he arrived in H County, Xie Wendong did not stop and asked the driver to take him directly to J City. The driver knew that his good friend of Ma Wu dared not delay and drove the car directly to J City. When he arrived near the Xinshin Billiards Hall, Xie Wendong pulled the girl out of the car and asked the driver to go back. Xie Wendong doesn't want Ma Wu's people to know his convergent point here. Xie Wendong took the girl by the hand and came to Xinshin, where dozens of brothers were frowning and discussing something. "Why are so many people rejoicing? Is something wrong?" Xie Wendong, feeling bad, pushed open the door and shouted, "What are you all doing here? What's the matter?" As soon as they saw Xie Wendong, they immediately gathered around, and one of them said hurriedly, "Brother Dong, no, something big has happened." Xie Wendong looked at him and said, "What's wrong? Make it clear to me." "Everyone, I have a sentence into a mess." Xie Wendong listened for a long time, did not understand, shouted, "Don't do it!" One by one. "Can you tell me what's going on?" Xie Wendong pointed to the person who spoke just now, who cried and said, "Dong. No, no, no. No, no, no. Brother Dong." Brother Shuang was cut down. He cut 17 times in the hospital, and Brother Chong was arrested by the police. After listening to this, Xie Wendong buzzed his head, and this sentence was undoubtedly like 5 tiredness. He grabbed the man by the collar and asked, "Where are the 3 eyes? Where are the 3 eyes?" Seeing Xie Wendong like this, the man's voice trembled with fear and said, "Yes. No, no, no. No, no, no. In the ghosts." Xie Wendong let him go, turned around and wanted to go out, when he suddenly saw the girl standing by and looking at herself. Xie Wendong loosened his grip on the girl, gave it to the brothers in Xinshin, and then said, Volume 1 Juvenile Blood Chapter 24-How to Make a Bad Guy 1. Keep her in the back room. No one can touch her, but we can't let her get away. Everyone looked at the girl, looked at Xie Wendong again and nodded foolishly. Xie Wendong strode out of Xian and took a car to Ghost Gue. When I got to the door, I saw a lot of brothers standing outside. I don't know what they were arguing about, Xie Wendong was so anxious and angry that he had been gone less than a day before such a big thing happened and the gang was in chaos. Say aloud, "What are you all doing standing here?" When they heard the sound and looked back, they looked at Xie Wendong and surrounded them as if they had seen a savior. Xie Wendong was anxious to see Three Eyes and shouted, "Where are the Three Eyes?" One man said loudly, "Brother Three Eyes is inside." Xie Wendong pushed the crowd away and went in. There were no guests in the disco, the lights were bright, and no less than 200 people stood in the venue, and the noise was loud. Three Eyes, Zhang Yanjiang, and He Haoran were talking about something. Xie Wendong shouted, "Everybody be quiet." In an instant, the noise in the disco disappeared, and everyone's faces were happy at the same time. As soon as the third eye saw Xie Wendong, the rim of his eyes was slightly red and ran over quickly. When the third eye came to Xie Wendong, he slapped himself in the face and said, "Brother Dong, it's all my fault. If it hadn't been for my emotion, nothing would have happened to Lao Fei and Xiangzi. Punish me." With that, he knelt on the ground with Three Eyes, lowered his head and burst into tears. Xie Wendong was so confused that he pulled up his Three Eyes and walked to the single room, followed by Zhang Yanjiang and He Haoran. When he got to the single room, Xie Wendong closed the door and asked, "Brother Zhang, don't stop talking first. Tell me what's going on." He spoke with Three Eyes and one by one. It turned out that after several people sent Xie Wendong away, they saw everyone depressed and suggested that everyone should not go back to school and play with ghosts. Li Shuang and others were depressed, so they agreed. I didn't expect that I had just entered the ghost house, but it was in a mess. Most of the brothers who stayed in the ghost were covered with injuries and lay on the ground, while Sister Shui was very busy. Three Eyes waiting for someone to ask what was going on. A fairly sober brother said that a gang called the Sickle Gang came here to make trouble and beat all the brothers who were watching the scene, put down the words before leaving, and let Wendong Society withdraw from the ghost in 3 days. Otherwise, everyone in Wendong Society would do one after another. Li Shuang, who was already in a bad mood, exploded after hearing this. "If you take a knife, you have to go to some Sickle Gang." The third eye wanted to stop him, but he himself was a little angry. When did Wendong be bullied by others? Ask Sister Shui if she knows about the Sickle Gang. Sister Shui told him that the 8 Gods disco, not far from the ghost, was taken care of by the Sickle Gang. Three Eyes listened to a smile, immediately called Xin, told everyone to find someone, take the guy to the ghost. Less than half an hour later, Xion's brother found the 50th person to arrive. Three Eyes led them out, ready to find the sickle to help settle the bill. Zhang Yanjiang felt wrong and stopped Three Eyes and said that he would make a decision when Brother Dong came back. After listening 3 times, he ignored Zhang Yanjiang and took someone away. Li Shuang Gaochang followed the Three Eyes and went to the 8 Gods. When Zhang Yanjiang saw that he could not be stopped, he had to follow him. Did not expect that everyone into the 8 Gods after a figure did not find. Zhang Yanjiang and Three Eyes almost at the same time know that it is not good, want to back out is not urgent. From the private room in the disco, dozens of young people were killed outside, chopping at everyone with a knife in their hand. Volume 1 Juvenile Blood Chapter 24 _ How to Make a Bad Guy 1. The brothers in the Wendong Society were killed unprepared, and several people were cut down in an instant. Three Eyes with their brothers fought hard and finally rushed out of the 8 Gods, but Li Shuang and Three Eyes were tied up inside. When the third eye wanted to go back and kill again, there was a sound of alarm in the distance. Zhang Yanjiang pulled Three Eyes and left with his brothers. And Li Shuang inside, blocking Gao Chang in the private room, blocked himself at the door against each other. When the police arrived, Li Shuang received a total of 17 knives, and the knife was sharp to the bone. He was unconscious when he was taken to the downtown hospital by the police. The Sickle Gang told the police that they had no choice but to do it when they came in to rob. He had something to do with the leader, who didn't say a word and took Gao Chang away. Gao Chang took it all on himself at the police station. The police can't believe that all kinds of punishment have been used, but Gao Chang didn't let go. In this war, the 20th Wendong Society was injured and admitted to hospital, and 10 people were arrested by the police. Li Shuang was seriously injured and his life or death was uncertain, and Gao Chong was arrested. There are 5 main cadres in the meeting to go to the second. It was a fiasco. After listening to this, Xie Wendong took a long breath, closed his eyes and leaned against the sofa without speaking for a long time. 3 eyes, 3 people standing beside Xie Wendong dare not breathe in the atmosphere. Xie Wendong kept saying to himself in his heart, "Calm down, calm down. Try to control your mood and calm down and slowly reflect on the words of 3 eyes." After a while, Xie Wendong opened his eyes, glanced coldly over the 3 people and said, "There is a mole in the meeting." With a tremble in his 3 eyes, he would rather Xie Wendong punish himself than hear this. The brothers in the club are usually like a family, and he regards each brother as his own brother. Who would betray the One-Tongue Society? Xie Wendong's words are like a sharp knife in the heart of 3 eyes. Xie Wendong went on to say, "Brother Zhang, go and give me $100,000 and find out the address of the city director's home. I'm going to see Xiao Shuang now. No one follows me." With that, Xie Wendong glanced at the 3 and sighed. When he got to the door, Xie Wendong stopped and turned to his 3 eyes and said, "You don't have to blame yourself. Even if I were there, I would have made the same choice as you." With 3 eyes in tears, he knelt on the ground, looked at Xie Wendong and shouted, "Brother Dong!" A man as strong as 3 eyes burst into tears. Zhang Yanjiang and Zhang Yanjiang beside him also burst into tears. "We need to learn the lesson of failure, but I will never spare my enemies. You make me strong." Xie Wendong shouted and walked out of the single room. After coming out, the brother outside saw that Xie Wendong looked bad and automatically gave way, and no one said a word. After Xie Wendong got out of the ghost, he looked up to the sky with a long cry to vent his accumulated grievances. Then take the bus straight to the central hospital. After arriving, Xie Wendong asked the nurse about Li Shuang's ward. Knowing that it was after 302, I ran quickly. This ward is an intensive care unit, in which the patients are not out of danger. Seeing that there was no police guard at the door, Xie Wendong pushed the door and was about to enter, when a nurse stopped him. "Hello, don't you know it's not allowed in here? Excuse me, please." Xie Wendong ignored her and opened the door and went in. The nurse grabbed his clothes and said angrily, "I told you what's wrong with you. I told you you can't go in here. There's something wrong, isn't it?" Xie Wendong saw his whole body when he opened the door.